Hello, I'm Kim Seyun from Strategy and Planning Team. Nice to meet you all today. In this session, I'll be talking about the strategies for security against threats that are evolving in a diverse and complicated cloud environment. So, you don't have to mention why clouds are to be adopted or what advantages they have, because it has become a must. The recent IT environment does require cloud as essential one, as an important pillar. But several years ago, whenever I met clients, I had to explain clouds are to be used, but now I don't have to mention that at all. There's a flexible IT infrastructure management, prompt infrastructure adoption, response to unexpected traffic inflow. These are the advantages of cloud. So thanks to these advantages, the cloud market is growing. According to Gartner, by 2020, the market size will be at 2.7 trillion won and even 3.7 trillion won by the year 2022 in Korea. So we can see that so many advantages of using clouds, but there are not always positive aspects about clouds. Today, I'll be talking about some of the negative aspects to do with security. So in terms of security, is the cloud having full security? And many of the security experts say no to that question, I think. So there are several reasons here. Because it's not the latest security technology. Because it's to virtualize the existing physical environments. That is why all the existing security threats on premise have been transferred to online. And there are also the security vulnerabilities in the virtual environment. Because there's a separation between virtual and physical, security threats actually can be transferred to the online world without any problems. Gartner said by the year 2023, 99% of the cloud-related mistakes will be driven by human users or customers. According to DataNet research, out of the cloud users in Korea, 67.5% are not using cloud security solutions, and 11.3% said they don't even check out about the presence of security incidents. This is a data released by global institutions, including RSA, CSA, and Gartner, along with some Korean companies. So this is on security threats. As you see from this slide, all the existing threats do exist. Data manipulation, data leakage, hijacking of accounts, and stealth of the accounts. So all the security vulnerabilities of vulture technologies, including hyper vulnerability, attack among VM, and not safe AP threats, actually are the vulnerabilities of security in clouds. What it means is that in the IT environment, clouds tout scalability, flexibility, and convenience. However, on the other side, if you look at it in the angle of security, the attack surfaces to be perfected have expanded in scale. So this is the data from CSA, Cloud Security Alliance, released each year on vulnerabilities of clouds. CSA updates the data each year by having surveys with security experts based on the outcome. They do release such outcome, and this is the outcome as of 2022. As you saw from the earlier slide, there's data leakage, account hijacking and insider threats. So we can see that there's a lack of strategies for cloud security architecture as well as security threats and all other vulnerabilities found in virtual world. So recently, there have been multi-clouds and hybrid clouds. These have become the recent norms. So in the hybrid and multi-clouds, they have added on complexity of the clouds. With the existing security solutions, the complexities cannot be covered. So this actually become very easy prey for attackers. And attackers can easily look around with enough space. Because between workloads, regarding malicious behaviors, these cannot be easily detected. So network security equipment focusing on north-south network, they actually cannot almost detect network detection between virtualization servers. And also, with the hypervisor layer being added, when rootkit actually is found in the domain of hypervisors, it's really hard to detect them with the vaccines being active in the user domain. And once the hypervisors are vulnerable, actually the workload gets severely damaged. And also, when the attackers do leave from the runtime environment that's isolated, provided by hypervisors, it would critically damage guest domains or entire systems. Let me talk about the overall case studies. So as for Capital One, a large-scale bank in the US, there was the user mistake of configuring WAF, Web Application Fire, which led to the leakage of 6,000 cases of personal information leakage. As for Honda Motors of India, there has been 3-month-long exposure because of the error found in AWS C3 buckets. So the names and gender and phone numbers actually are included in this personal information leakage. If you see the right-hand side, you can see the cloud-related security incidents are listed, and most of them are due to human errors as users or CPU-related configuration errors. And one thing to note is that in 2008, customer information was hugely leaked back then. Reusability and transferability are guaranteed, so Microsoft architecture is to be provided. So all these small portion of services are to communicate using API. But once API security vulnerabilities are exposed, actually there's been a great damage. So according to this research, about 70% of the cloud users are not using proper cloud security solutions. As I said earlier, there are a lot of security incidents and threats out there, and there are several reasons here. Let me focus on one single reason. So once cloud users use the service, they would think that they don't have to be responsible for security anymore, because they would believe that CSP or cloud service providers would be responsible for the entire security matters. However, through the responsibility sharing model, CSPs believe that users are partially responsible for security incidents. Responsibility for infrastructure and hardware is in the domain of CSP, but application security should fall on the responsibility of the users. IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. This is the sequence where the responsibilities of CSP would go up, but security users, actually the responsibility scale will go down in this order. And there's a very key point here. So security responsibility for the data in cloud, this falls on the users of using the cloud. As a result, users of cloud services are required to adopt and utilize security solutions. This slide shows security services and features provided by each CSP. As you see from the table, there are basic security features actually which CSPs are to be responsible for data application and user access, which cloud users are to be responsible for, are not provided in this list. So in the cloud threat market, there are three major trends. The first one is that there is CSP, which controls user access as well as securing visibility of cloud and applications. So it provides SSO, the multi-feature authentication. And in order to make up for usage error, SysPIN, PM, or cloud security posture major is provided. Complex diagnosis and operation monitoring and risk diagnosis and identification are provided through CSPM. Lastly, what we need to pay attention to is CWPP, or Cloud Workload Production Platform. Gartner defines CWPP as the most important or most basic security technology to protect server workload. So there is this actually provides high visibility and higher security features, security enforcement, and managing vulnerabilities and setup, network firewall visibility and micro-segmentation and system integrity, application control, exploit prevention and memory protection, and EDR, server workload, and behavior monitoring and threat detection are included as features. So in the cloud threats, let me talk about the security clouds technologies. So cloud is not a new technology, so the existing security threats must be removed, and also exclusive threats in virtualization technologies must be removed as well. So hybrid and multi cloud environments also should be able to remove all sorts of threats where integrated management is needed. In cloud platform, the most basic one is workload, which needs to be properly securitized. And between workloads, making sure that there should be prevention of malicious transfer or actions through network security. So I talked about the security vectors in the clouds, and I would like to focus on the necessity of CWPP in clouds. Recently, VM, serverless, container, on-premise, all the resources are utilized to provide IT services. Data centers and public clouds are also harnessed together. As a result, workload security has become very essential. According to Gartner, CWPP's definition of Gartner actually can be exactly applied here. According to Gartner, it actually said that security on clouds must be able to provide the following features: being able to detect malware based on signatures and patterns as anti-malware, and also host-based intrusion detection system, and EDR, behavior monitoring and threat detection and response for server workloads, and prevention of exploits and memory protection, and application control, so that applications you know are to be operated in the perspective of zero trust. And also to guarantee and manage system integrity, and to guarantee the visibility and micro-segmentation, and to allow for the strength of network firewalls, and also to reinforce security and manage setup and vulnerabilities. So with all of these features, complexities are to be removed, and consistent visibility can be provided, and excellent transferability can be provided as well. Let me tell you about the key features of CWPP. First of all, it's host-based IPS feature. So what it means is that malicious packets are to be detected and blocked. So the host-based IPS are provided so that vulnerabilities coming to workloads. So this is a host-based IPS feature. So SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and web application attack can be detected and blocked. And also CV vulnerabilities are detected, blocked, and diagnosed, so that zero-day attacks can be blocked from the onset. So let me tell you why host-based IPS is needed. In the cloud environment, between workloads, actually, IPS actually is detected and blocked through the internal spread of the security vulnerabilities among workloads. So existing solutions cannot detect the movement of the packets. So host-based IPS can detect and prevent the spread of malware. And also, host IPS can actually, have a lot of policies we set up depending on the usage of servers and application. And when there is false positives, host IPS can only have the server policies being corrected or modified, because they only affect the servers. Also, it supports the review of the vulnerabilities of security for applications and OS. Also, it can respond to vulnerabilities of zero-day. And also, it supports auto-scaling. So now it's about application execution control. In terms of zero trust, only the applications you know and recognize are to be acted by forming a whitelist. And also you can form a blacklist by having a list of those that should not be executed. So application execution control is in action in the kernel level. So there is no possibility of bypass being allowed. Next, it is something we're aware of, anti-malware feature. So in the cross-platform basis, including Linux and Windows Server, macrovirus of Microsoft, worm, Trojan, and ransomware, all of these malware can be detected and blocked. Various files must be supported. And also you must harness a feature of host RPS. So it must be able to use automated protocol detection in the processor, so that automatic detection of a protocol in the streams can be enabled. CWPP with such multiple usages will bring about the following benefits. So there are hybrid and multi-clouds. These must be also supported. In order to do that, workload-based security solutions are needed, and so WPP can do the job. So it can support the security control for both on-premise and online. So it can secure integrated IT visibility, and not just that. Based on the acquired visibility, it can enable integrated security management. It can resolve security blind spots. And also, with a single security solution, you can cover on-premise and cloud environment at the same time to save the IT security cost. Not just that, because of a single security solution, it can provide consistent security environment, and also it can provide unified security feature. CWPP's host-based IPS can be used to respond to vulnerabilities of zero-day. So this is a very strong workload-based CWPP, which can provide continuity of IT services as well as stability. So CWPP has very strong security features. Although it's a very excellent solution for security, there might also be disadvantages of CWPP. First of all, so host-based ones actually are patent or signature-based ones. Therefore, for unknown threats, they cannot be detected. And intelligent attacks like APT cannot be detected or blocked. Second, there is a lack of control for insiders. So it's impossible to respond to the breach of the super user authority authentication. Also, it cannot respond to the malicious behaviors of insiders. And also, it cannot block spoofing of files through integrated test. It will only monitor the current situation, but then it cannot block or prevent any of the possible causes. So, with what products can these advantages be addressed? So, we know this is a very strong security solution. This solution has been operating in the server security market for long. That is secure OS feature, which is to protect the servers. At the kernel level, it actually allows for a very strong access control, which doesn't allow bypassing. So it actually provides 3 different models for security. First of all, it is MAC. It is to control the, it is like a forcible control of the access. And the next one is arbitrary access control. And also the last one is role-based access control. Secure OS enables users' applications when there are some behaviors. It would actually hook the behaviors to be able to control it on the layer. So there's no way possible for bypassing. As a result, whether it's known attacks or unknown attacks, these all can be defended against. And also on secure OS, even super users are considered exactly the same as ordinary users. So for example, 30 of the super users being stolen away, and maybe errors of the user also can be blocked and controlled. And when it does monitoring, Secure OS would make sure that there is no modification or spoofing of the files. You see the bottom left. This is the ordinary architecture configuration of Secure OS. So when users approach system or workload, the two-layer login system feature is in action. So the users actually would go through that process to log in, and all the behaviors would be controlled based on the kernel. So in the secure kernel, there is control being in action, and there's no bypassing made possible here as well. And from the moment the users log in to the point where they do log out, all the behaviors are traced because there is automatic tracking feature being added here. If you see the right-hand side, there's a table. The main features in a summary form for Secure OS. So external access control and directory access control and command execution control and TTI monitoring and user behavior tracking are provided as audit features. So what are some of the features, major features of Secure OS? Let me go to details. You see the left-hand side? So this shows how the commands are not being allowed to be used. So in Secure OS, the root of the superuser's administration account are regarding exactly the same as ordinary users. So if it is root superuser, if the command execution goes against the security policy, it also gets blocked. If you see the left-hand side, the commands are hidden. So here again, bypassing is not allowed. In Secure OS, at the kernel level, I told you that it gets controlled at kernel level. So it's an alias, a similar link. So the commands to be used by attackers, Secure OS actually primarily blocks any of the execution of these commands. If you see the bottom left, it shows the strength of the Secure OS. So the subjects of the security solution can designate the server and designate the binary files. On one single line, security policy can be added. The external intrusion web control can be controlled. So when there's a single server uploaded here, and using the uploaded file, using the web browser, the files on the server can be searched, or system commands can be used by the attackers. However, on Secure OS, with a single security policy added, all these behaviors can be primarily blocked. See the right-hand side, superusers. Actually, it's blocked from closing a specific process. So if this is the case, as I told you before, attack from the account stealth, the behaviors of malicious attackers also controlled. So if you see the bottom left, this is the second authentication layer. Secure OS, when it purchases the system, PKI, OTP authentication is aligned, so that it's based on the real user to be able to control the workload or access. And even after accessing the system, the critical commands for the system and through the second layer authentication, the authentication gets tighter. You see the bottom right. So this is the user's monitoring tracking. So users is working. All the behaviors actually can be represented in the form of a video. Because it can be presented in a video, it provides an excellent video feature for audit, but there's a very critical disadvantage. Because the workload that cannot be seen on the screen is unknown. Because bench file or script files, the actual commands used here in the scripts cannot be shown on the screen. Alias, symbolics used actual commands also cannot be seen here on the screen. Therefore, kernel-based user behavior audit feature is needed as a result. So the kernel users all execution of all commands can be monitored. So the hidden commands and scripts or batch file or similar link or alias, all the bypass commands also can be inquired here. So there are two solutions that I explained to you, which are based on the workload or host. CWPP based on signature and policy-based secure OS. These are the workload-based solutions for security. Once we combine these two, we can have a very strong security solution. So it actually guarantees the continuity of the IT services along with safety and security. Even if all the excellent security solutions are installed and operated, if managers cannot handle these, prompt security response cannot be made. Out in the market, there are a lot of security operation solutions, but there are still many disadvantages. Because the number of security alerts is too many, too various, too rapid, and too repeated. If you look at some materials from Cisco, actually, security-related fatigue is coming from the number of alerts. So it leads to higher fatigue for security managers. Such rapidly occurring security alerts would perplex security analysts, but they would get used to them and ending up disregarding them. And then this would lead to delayed response to security incidents. So workload-based visibility, I think, is very critical in security solutions. And also charts to see the track results or track records are not enough to secure high visibility. By having 3D visualization, the visibility can be enhanced. And through this secure visibility, fast recognition and response can be made. So visibility can be maximized through 3D visualization. You can see the actual screenshots. You see the bottom left. You can see the on-premise environment represented in 3D. So I just actually represented 3D. You can see the location of rack and some of the equipment located in 3D. So if you configure it that way, when there are security alerts, security analysts can recognize the alerts and make very acute responses. You see the left-hand side, it's a cloud environment. It's right-hand side, that is. So it's where workloads are shown. We don't know where workloads exist. So through virtual space being shown, we can see where they exist. And not just VM, even the container environment is being supported to be shown. So both on-premise and clouds can be supported to provide the visibility for security in a hybrid environment. So this is a summary chart. On the cloud, the starting point of security lies in the workload. In order to protect workloads better, CWPP and multi-security platforms of SecureOS would better protect the security. And through workload-based 3D visualization, security visualization could be enhanced to be able to complete the cloud-based workload integrated security. If that's the case, then the blind spots for cloud could be eased and consistent security management systems can be established. Also, we can secure IT service stability and continuity. And not just that, because it can comply with cloud security compliance, security features of clients can be fully completed. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.